Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. Welcome to MFSN, the Hub's fantasy baseball show, strategy show. Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'm Dr. Dan Ratner, and I'm here today only with Ross the Boss.
Hey everybody, Ross the Boss here, coming from you Lipstick City, California, and we're live on a Thursday, first official week of baseball in the books, Dr. Dan Ratner, and I feel good. A lot of big stories to talk about. I mean, a lot of teams playing unbelievable, and some teams are playing really bad. So let's start it off.
Well, let's start off with the team context because, in fantasy sports, everybody talks about individuals, but the reality is some of it is in the context of teams. So what are you seeing out there? Let's take maybe the first couple things that jump out at you about the season, about teams.
Well, teams 8-0, LA Dodgers. I'm here in Lipstick City, and the fans are just going crazy. Me being a Dodger hater is not happy. Padres 7-0. That's a surprise. No one expected them to be that good. I mean, again, I don't care who you're playing. You could be playing, Casey Scheinfeld's Little League team. If you're 7-0 or 8-0, you're playing good baseball.
You're doing something right.
The record is 13-0 by a couple teams. Tampa Bay, I think, did it, and I think Milwaukee did it in '87. So, I mean, let's see if one of the teams can break the record. It'd be great. And on the other spectrum, we got the Atlanta Braves are 0-7.
No one expected that.
No, but they're a lot of their big hitters and pitchers are hurt, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the Pittsburgh Pirates have won 2 games, and they've been on the road every game until Friday. So there you go. I mean, it's again, Dodgers nobody's really surprised them. They're 8-0, but again, the Padres 7-0, people are a little shocked.
Yep. All right. So, obviously many of these things are going to right the ship. I'm not worried about the Atlanta Braves. I mean, they're going to be in the playoff hunt for sure. They're a very, very good team, but we say these things and then you just never know. Meanwhile, I want to bring up one other team context. So the Yankees, have you heard about the bats they've been using?
It's funny, those torpedo bats. I actually have a Easton metal torpedo bat in my garage. I mean, I have like a lot of bats and balls and stuff from me playing softball to my kids playing Little League and stuff. So I have a collection of crazy stuff, but I do have a torpedo bat. But again, not all the Yankees are using those bats. Other players and other teams are using those bats, and they're legal. So what's the why are we talking about it? It's not that they're not breaking the rules. There's no rule break.
It's not breaking the rules, but it's I would say it's bending them in a way that, it works, but the game's going to have to adjust to this now, which is fine.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Kyle Tucker's using these bats, but he doesn't have a bruised shin.
His shin's hurting him, so he's worried about that right now.
I mean, his numbers, though, look pretty damn great coming in. He is the number 1 player in baseball now.
Remember, Aaron Judge people saying Aaron Judge is cheating. He's not using the torpedo bat. Stop bringing his name up with the torpedo bat. He has nothing to do with it.
Why is he not using it? I'm not saying he should be, but I'm just curious.
These guys sign deals with bat companies, and the bat company that he's with does not offer that bat.
Yep.
And why would he want to switch to a different bat? I mean, the guy has been MVP.
He's doing just fine.
I mean, why switch? Why switch it?
And it really is interesting. I mean, Aaron Judge is the number 2 offensive player in baseball, and Shohei Ohtani is number 5. So, and Fernando Tatis is number 4. Kyle Tucker's 1. These are some big hitters performing at the level you'd hope they were. Then you have someone like Wilier Abreu. I don't think he's going to keep doing what he's doing, and he's only done it in 14 at bats. So, there's a lot that we take with a grain of salt. But I wanted to ask you, Ross, who's performing really well so far that you anticipate is going to continue that you didn't see coming?
The word is continue. I mean, Casey Scheinfeld, his pick for MVP is De La Cruz, and he had, I think, 2 home runs the other day, and he's been hitting the cover off the ball. I mean, that guy steals bases, has power, and he knows how to steal home base. So this guy does everything. I mean, De La Cruz is somebody I expect to just keep on pouring it on during the whole season. I mean, we have the guys like Rodriguez up in Seattle. He's hitting under 200, and People think he's the next big thing. And last year he was disappointing, and this year he's starting out slow. The place where you got to watch the stats, and you like this guy because you just traded for him, is Rooker up in Sacramento. See, I didn't mix it up, Dr. Dan Ratner. I didn't say Oakland. You thought I would. I didn't do it. Up in Sacro Tomato, we call it, because it's like farmland. That place is an easy place to hit home runs. I mean, I saw this guy, who was it, for the Cubs, Suzuki? Am I saying it right?
Seiya Suzuki?
Yeah. He hit a ball so far, I think it was almost to San Francisco. I mean, it was astonishing how far he hit the ball. And, last year when they played minor league baseball there, I mean, the average amount of runs was like 12 or 13 runs a game. I mean, balls fly out of this place.
So let me ask you this. Would you be buying Suzuki right now? And one of the reasons I ask is because of Kyle Tucker, because that lineup's different with Kyle Tucker in it.
I think the Cubs, I underestimate them. I think they have a good team. I think their pitching's okay. And I feel right now they're the team to beat in the Central. I'm not a big – I mean, I'd rather have Rooker, or I'd rather have Lawrence Butler.
I would rather have them also, but it's all a matter of degrees.
Suzuki is a guy you'll be able to get on the waiver wire. I wouldn't trade for him. He's one of these guys that will go off and on waiver wire depending on injuries.
That's what I was asking, Ross, because he's the 11th ranked player, but both you and I are looking at that and being like, he's the same guy he always was.
It's like that Ian Happ guy. You're not a big Ian Happ guy, even though he went to the University of Cincinnati, and I get it. I mean, Ian Happ is like your average Major League Baseball player. I mean, he's not going to hurt you too much, but he's not going to win you any titles.
Let me ask you this. O'Neal Cruz, is he going to keep up doing what he's doing? And let's just highlight what he's doing. He's already stolen 6 bases.
Yeah, we knew that he was going to have a big year stealing bases. I think
261 average, 922 OPS, 2 home runs.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player when he's healthy. I mean, he's built like De La Cruz. They're both over 6'5". They both play shortstop. They're both very athletic. O'Neal Cruz, I just don't love that Pittsburgh lineup. I don't like the people that are surrounding. It's like a AAA baseball team almost without him. I like O'Neal Cruz. I don't know if I would trade for him. There's so many good shortstops out there, but he's somebody that I do like, and again, he's in my top 10. So
I think you maybe wait a while for him to cool off, stop running quite so much. The Pittsburgh offense isn't that good, as we know, and his numbers are going to cool off. So maybe a deal for him, but there's lots of good players out there. Now, 2 players on the offensive side of the ball that are hitting the ball very well so far, but are prone to big time slumps. That's Eugenio Suarez.
I was going to say him. I knew you would bring him up. He has I think he has 4 hits for the year and 4 home runs. Am I right? I mean, every hit he does.
He actually has 5 home runs.
5 home runs. I believe he had one last night.
I believe every hit he has.
I mean, every hit he has is a home run. I mean, and last year, I think you remember this. He started off like so slow. I mean, he did not have a home run.
He started off slow for the last 3 years at least. Yeah. I mean, so much so that we just expected. So I was surprised out of the gate to see him hitting.
Again, we got to remember this is the first official week of the season. We're just 7 days into the season. So please, no one flip out, waving your stars away. Don't do anything stupid. But Suarez is somebody who's hot, and you should pick up if you need a third baseman. He's probably not available, but
not right. He won't be available right now.
But if you have him, I would. If you have him, I would probably try to trade him. To try to get maybe get another third baseman like Riley for Atlanta or something like that. That's not starting off that great.
I mean, I think it's a time of the season where you want to cash in where you can, but it's got to be on the right people. It's got to be on the right people. So
Suarez is hot right now, and yes, I think you should. If you have him, you should trade him. Yes.
So this is a strategy show, and you're saying maybe you go for Austin Riley. Austin Riley has been terrible, 3 for 27. Yep. So in a redraft league, obviously in a keeper or dynasty league,
we're just talking
giving up Austin Riley for Suarez,
of course.
But if somebody offers you Suarez straight up for Riley, and you're, let's say you're the Suarez owner, I think you take that immediately without any question. I mean, but who would really accept that? I mean, don't you think you're going to have to include something in that to get an Austin Riley?
I don't know. People in a redraft league, they want to win now. They don't want to. They don't want to wait till like May or June. They want to win in April. So you get those owners that have that win now mentality. So you got to think, okay, Riley's going to start hitting soon. Maybe not in April, maybe in May.
But now, hear me out on this one. Would you trade Eugenio Suarez right now for Alex Bregman? Because you can easily get that deal done, I think, right now. But would you want
just hit his first home run yesterday as a Red Sox. I would, yes, I would do that deal. I would do that deal also. I think he'll have a great year in Boston. It's cold right now back east, and the weather's not that great. So let it start heating up, and that's when the ball starts flying out of there.
So I agree with you on that, Ross. I think that's a deal you make because Bregman's the one who has the higher floor. He's going to be solid. He's going to be very solid. Yeah. He might even be very good.
Yeah.
And Suarez, he goes through these huge periods, and meanwhile, he's going to bat, 230?
He'll probably be one of the leaders in strikeouts for the league, close to it, if not the leader.
All right, so let me ask you about another player that's somewhat like this. Kyle Schwarber.
You're saying, can I guess before you say it?
I already said it, but maybe you didn't hear it.
I didn't hear you. Who is it?
You didn't hear, so guess.
Schwarber.
It is Kyle Schwarber, yes.
I knew it.
So
you hate that in April. All you do is talk about how bad this guy is, and he's hitting the ball.
I do not talk about how bad he is. I talk about
how in April you do. Just in April.
In April, yeah, sure. And he's crushing the ball. So is he going to do this? Is he like a new player? I mean, if he does this, he can hit like 55 homers.
Letting him lead off. They moved him down in the order, which is good for him, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy, we both know what he's about. He's a home run guy, and he'll strike out, but maybe he'll get on base more. Maybe his average will go up a little bit. We'll see.
I mean, he has 8 hits. 4 of them are homers.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a monster. People during the draft, they underestimate him. He never goes in the first couple rounds.
But
he always has 40 home runs. He'll have 40 home runs this year. I'll tell you that. I don't know what his
that's a no-brainer. He's already at 4. I mean,
yeah, he'll have 40 and he'll have over 100 RBIs. So those stats alone, yeah. I mean, does it credit him as a first or second round pick next year? Yeah. Will he lead the league in home runs? He could. He could lead the National League in home runs.
And I'll add you one more question. Would I ever take him in the second round? No.
No. Dr. Dan Ryder would not take him in the second round.
What I think, I would trade him right now. I mean, his value is super high right now. Go ahead and trade him. So let's talk about who you can get for him. Probably you're going to be looking for an outfielder since you got him as an outfielder. Who would you target, Ross, if you're trying to, because we're talking a lot about sell high and buy low, which is a big part of how you can get value. What outfielder would you be looking at?
This guy just signed a deal a couple days ago, and I loved him beginning of the year. I loved him when we talked about outfielders, as Jackson Morrell of the Padres. I love this kid, and it's his second year, and some people are calling him the best player in baseball. Like some of these writers.
That's the thing, though. He's playing really well. You're not going to get Jackson Merrill away from him.
Play, and I mean, this guy runs, he steals, he'll do whatever it takes to win a game. He has power.
You can get Jackson Merrill if you're going to give up like Juan Soto. That would be easy.
But you don't want to trade Juan Soto.
You do not want to trade Juan Soto. I'm just saying Jackson Merrill is going to be hard to get.
Jackson Merrill is somebody that if I drafted him in a lot of leagues, but if I didn't draft him, I would still kind of try to get him.
If I'm dealing Kyle Schwarber, the Jackson I'd go after is Jackson Churio, because he hasn't performed quite as well, but he's still a great player.
I mean, strikeouts. He has a lot of strikeouts this year too. He's not been playing that well at all. And Gunnar Henderson comes back, I think, on tomorrow. Gunner's back. His values could be a little lower now because he hasn't played. I mean, unfortunately I have Gunnar in a lot of leagues also, which I'm just waiting to activate him. Hopefully we'll hear tonight or tomorrow morning. But outfielder wise, I'm thinking like, who would I trade away? Jackson Merrill is always on my list. Corbin Carroll, after the disappointing year last year, I mean, I would like to get more shares of him. I think he'll have a good year this year. And then I'm just, I know the obvious ones, but I'm just trying to figure out the guys that don't really come to mind. But I mean, again, Jackson Merrill's my number one get if I can get somebody in that level.
I think that's a great get. Let me ask you this: Would you trade Kyle Schwarber for Jarren Duran?
I like those Red Sox outfielders. I think they're strong. I'd rather have Schwarber because I just feel in those categories of home runs, RBIs, and runs scored, I think he'll do really well.
It depends on the categories, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, stolen bases, he's not going to steal many bases for you. But
Duran
will have at least 20 or 30 stolen bases this year. I mean, that guy's fast.
I think runs, stolen bases, and you get an advantage in average with Jarren Duran. I think they're comparable players.
No.
Let's move to pitching for a bit, Ross. Who among the pitchers do you feel is overperforming, and who do you think is going to keep it up of the ones that are really performing well so far?
Well, the guy who pitched the first shutout complete game for the Texas Rangers was how do you say it? Irinaldi.
I'm looking at who this was. I somehow missed this.
It was Irinaldi.
Rinaldi. What?
He pitches. What's his name? Irinaldi. I always forget how to say his name. Doesn't matter.
I'll look it up through the Texas Rangers.
Some other guys that are pitching way over their head. I think
Eovaldi. Okay.
Eovaldi, thank you.
Yeah, Eovaldi.
I mean,
he's not going to keep
somebody that pitched a complete game shutout against the Cincinnati Reds a couple days ago.
But he's just not going to keep that up.
No, he's not going to keep it up.
We've seen him before.
His teammate, Jack, who was it that pitched yesterday? Jack Leiter actually pitched yesterday. He looked great. He pitched like 7 or 8 scoreless innings. He was terrific. And it's like Al Leiter's nephew. He looked really good.
And he's a big time prospect also. I mean, he was a prospect. He's now
exactly. But I mean, you just look at the Dodger team, and you have Yamamoto, you have Glass now, you have the new kid Suzaki who got shelled the last time he pitched. But I mean, just the Dodger pitching alone is just so strong. I feel that they're going to have a really good year just because they're pitching. I mean, there's no way they're not. So I'm trying to think some other pitchers that are overdoing it. I mean,
well, I'll throw out some names, and you tell me. You tell me if you think they're going to keep this up. So Brady Singer, you're a Reds fan, so and he had a really good year last year. But what do you think of him?
I think he'll do well for Cincinnati. He's coming into his own age-wise. He's getting that where he's in his prime. I feel he'll have 15, 16 wins. I think he's a steal in any of these fantasy drafts. I like him. I've always been a fan of him, even when he was in Kansas City. I thought he was good. He just wasn't healthy all the time. But I'm a fan of Singer. If you can get him, great. If you can't, pick him up in waivers. You can't do that. Just wait and try to get him later and see what happens. But I think he'll keep it up. He's on my keep list.
Yep. All right. So I'm not going to talk about Paul Skeens or Hunter Green in terms of keep. These were guys we were very high.
Paul Skeens got the win yesterday. Hunter Green has 2 starts and like 16 strikeouts or something. I mean, his ERA is like 2.2.
You know who's doing even better, at least in many ways, you could argue, is Logan Gilbert. I mean,
what's he doing?
Well, he's had 12 innings and 18 strikeouts. Now, his ERA is a little bit higher than Hunter Green's, and his WHIP is exactly the same. So they're pretty comparable.
Seattle stinks. I mean, Seattle's just horrible, though. I mean, they're just not. I don't know. They can't hit.
So you're looking at it from a wins perspective.
Well, I'm just saying, as a team perspective. I mean, they just can't win games. I mean, their hitting's just bad. I mean, I wish I can figure something out. Oh, it's because of this. That it's not. They strike out almost every time somebody's up. They strike out. They can't score runs, and they have some good hitters, but they just can't produce. So don't get me started on Seattle. They're horrible.
Well, speaking of bad teams, here's a guy who's pitching well, very, very, very well so far, that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. It's Kyle Freeland. He's on the Rockies. He's pitching well. He's not a bad pitcher overall, but he just has never put up. I mean, his numbers have been fairly terrible, actually, the last several years. And he's pitching in Colorado. Like, I was even, we have prospects that we keep in our dynasty league. And there's a pitcher in the Colorado organization that's probably the number 12 prospect in Major League Baseball, but I wouldn't touch him because.
No, you can't touch any Colorado pitchers. Unfortunately, just none of them get drafted. No one picks them up during the season. And all these guys get shelled. I mean, they do. I mean, that's the sad thing about being a Colorado. They make money. These guys cash their paychecks.
Sure.
Somebody
but
has
I mean,
to be there. But
how many
short, the fantasy wise, there's no value, zero value in Colorado for pitchers.
I mean, I can only think of 2 pitchers in Colorado history who have been really, really valuable fantasy starters. Let's see if you can come up with them.
I can't do it.
Okay, the number one, and it was only really for one season, is Ubaldo Jimenez.
Wow, whatever happened to him? Wow, that's a good one.
He was great. Then he signed a big contract, I think, and just was
Didn't
terrible.
He go to the Yankees, or he signed with somebody?
I think it was the Yankees.
Yeah, I think it was too. Okay, who else?
And then actually, I don't even remember if Mike Hampton pitched well when he was there. He was a great pitcher.
Horrible.
But he wasn't good there. So Ubaldo Jimenez is the one. So
there's one other guy that had a pretty good year. I forgot who it was back in the Vinny Castilla, Galarraga days. I forgot who it was. I have to look now. I have to look it up. Remember Colorado went to the playoffs. I mean, they had a really good team back in the day. They had a lot of great hitters.
Sure.
With Walker, Galarraga, Vinny Castilla. I mean, we're talking major offense, major fantasy numbers. I mean, if you drafted a Colorado Rocky back then, you were in great shape. I mean, I remember
from the offensive side, sure.
I remember one year I drafted all 3 of those guys. All 3 of those guys I had on my team on fantasy.
Oh my God. That would have been a monstrosity.
It was monsters. I won the league hands down.
All right, let's talk about people who are really, really underperforming and whether you are worried about them or not. Let's take Bobby Witt Jr. It's only been a week, so I'm not particularly worried about him. I don't think anybody's worried about him.
I picked him as my MVP in the American League this year, so I'm not worried about him, no.
But Ross, let me tell you, this story will kind of crack you up just from a fantasy perspective. We got a question on MFSN, and it was somebody saying they play in a 4-team league. And so they're looking at a guy like Bobby Witt, and they're like, do I cut him? And I was like, no. You do not cut Bobby Witt in a 2-team league.
That's funny. But 4-team league, I'm like, well, maybe you do, because you pick somebody that's hot. And,
right. I mean, there's a lot of.
You don't cut Bobby Witt Jr. is a generational player that comes around once every 10 years. And no, you don't cut Bobby Witt Jr.
Okay. So I would guess neither of us are worried about Bobby Witt Jr. Jose Ramirez, not worried about him. At least I'm not. Are you thinking he might fall off a cliff at some point?
No,
I think he's still years away from that.
He's a top 10 fantasy player.
Okay.
I'm not worried about Jose.
We're not worried about Juan Soto.
No.
Are you worried about Corbin Carroll at all? It sounds like you're super high on him, so probably not.
I'm not. I feel he's going to have a lot better year this year, and I think Arizona is like the team everybody's picking to do well. I think all the players beginning of the year all get together and they all decide what teams will do well.
Yep.
And Arizona in the National League and Sacramento Athletics, I guess they're just called the Athletics. They picked in the American League. They feel they're going to do okay too. But no, I think Corbin Carroll is going to have a really good year.
I think he'll be just fine. But here's 2 guys that I would definitely be looking to buy low on right now because they're really underperforming. And guys out there, do not underestimate how much people freak out about their players sucking, especially at a huge level. Francisco Lindor, 2 for 20. Wow. 100 batting average, 236 OPS,
all that
1 run, 2 RBIs, 1 stolen base.
I mean, Lindor is somebody I projected having a big year because Soto's right there to protect him. So I did not know he was doing, but he started out slow. He just did the same thing last year. I remember in April, he did not start out that high.
It's also only been a week.
It's only a week, but Lindor, maybe I'll try to make some offers and try to get him. I only have him in a couple leagues. I don't have him in that many leagues.
If you have a need at shortstop, I'd go try to get Lindor. Vladimir Guerrero is probably going to be harder to get than Lindor because, the younger they are as a superstar, the sexier the name, but he's not performing well so far. You could potentially swoop in there.
Yeah, he's in a contract year, so people are projecting him to have 40 home runs and doing really well. He'll do well. Let's get through April with him. He's going to have a big year. He could lead the American League in home runs.
All right, Jordan Alvarez.
Another monster player.
Still a great player. I mean, he's a 4-category guy, so that does reduce his value some.
Yeah, you keep him. You don't just start him every game. Don't mess with him. Don't do anything stupid.
And I think if you can buy low, great. Julio Rodriguez. I assume he's a buy low as well.
I think you know what. Like after last year and how he's starting out this year, I think he's definitely a buy low. Will he bounce back? Yeah. I think he's going to have a good year this year. I just think he's starting out slow, but right now is a great time to buy him. So yes, make some offers, try to get him on your team. Just make a bunch of stupid offers and see if he does anything.
This is interesting. I'm looking at Rafael Devers.
I love those stats. Just read those stats to me real quick. I love listening to this because I hate them. I hate the Red Sox with passion. So for me, this is the best.
2 for 23. With 2 RBIs. That's an 0.87 average.
How many strikeouts, Dr. Dan Ratner?
Let's see. Yahoo
that's my favorite
strikeouts. Let me look it up a different way.
That's my favorite part of the whole story is how many times he struck out during the season is my favorite because
he has struck out 15 times already. Yeah, 15 times in 7 games.
And how many at bats? 23? Is that what you just told
23
me?
at bats.
He's walked a couple times too.
He's walked 4 times, so 27 plate appearances, and he's struck out 15 times.
Yeah,
he's batting over 500 in strikeouts.
Yeah, he's great. He's DHing. I know he's unhappy not playing third, but he's a horrible third baseman. He was rated number 32 out of 32 players.
That's pretty bad.
Horrible defensive player. I think he's just mad that he's not playing out there. The Red Sox should really consider trade. In all seriousness, they should trade him. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to play there. He's not trying. I don't think he's trying. I just think
that's interesting.
I feel mentally, and you're an expert on this. In all seriousness, I think mentally he's just messed up from the whole moving from third base to DH, and that can do it to you. Your ego deflates.
No, people. I think teams, general managers, they really sometimes underestimate, and coaches or managers, they underestimate what these moves can do to these guys. Devers may be a terrible third baseman, but they would have needed to handle it very carefully because these guys have big egos and they think more highly of themselves, and they kind of need to, because to have that level of confidence to get out there on the field, you need that. So you got to be careful with people's confidence.
And the way they told him was kind of bad. Basically, they just showed up to spring training and said, "Okay, you're not playing third anymore." And
That's right.
He saw his name listed as the DH or second, whatever they did with them. And they
see if good psychologists ran a team, these kinds of things wouldn't happen. But the teams would be terrible.
No,
the teams would be terrible otherwise.
A lot of teams, and we talked about it, have licensed psychologists on the team for this reason. I mean, because mentally, it's a big thing in sports with being on the right space in your mind. And
all right.
Endeavors obviously is not there. I mean, he's somewhere else.
No,
that's
you
why
see these things happen all the time, and I do think that he's pretty messed up in the head right now. We'll have to see where it goes. I'm going to ask you about a couple more guys and see. Some of these are guys you were high on, and I just want to see what's your temperature on them right now.
Keep them. I mean, it's the first week, so I'm not going to go crazy, but I'm curious to see who you say.
So let's think about it this way, though, Ross. It's not necessarily about whether you keep them. It's more about how worried are you about them.
Okay.
So Ketel Marte, you were huge on him coming in. He's been fine. I mean, his production
deal today or yesterday, he signed a huge contract extension, tremendous.
And his numbers, he's not putting up good offensive numbers in terms of production, but his average is there. He's scoring runs.
I love Marte. I think he's a complete player. He won't hurt you in any category. He's a first or second round pick in any league, and for second base, he's one of the top second basemen in offense. So, I mean, yes, and I think the guy is legitimately an all-star every year.
Okay, and I've had him different years where I'm like, I don't
Well, he
know.
was hurt. The one year you had him, you're talking about. I know what year that was, and he was hurt.
Well, I had him for one of his great years. Then I had him for the terrible.
Yeah, I remember he had the great year of like 30 or 40 home runs, and he dropped like a rock.
Yep. But then he came back.
Yeah.
So here's a guy that you and I were both down on, and he's been bad. Michael Harris II. He just seems like he's a very overrated player to me.
I always thought he was. When you look at his stats, fantasy wise, they're not great. They're not good.
They never really have been.
I mean, they're not like a player that you want on your team. Because every category is not that great. He's okay. Not a fan. Not somebody I ever drafted. I always saw him on waiver wires too. Like by May or June, he's always like back on the waiver wire.
Well, there was the one year where he really broke out, and it looked like he was going to be a star, and he's still kind of riding that. I guess,
but
I agree with you.
In 10-person leagues, you'll see him on waiver wire throughout the year. I mean, he's not going to.
I think that's 100% true, and like even in our dynasty league, the only reason he's not going to end up on waiver wire is because it is dynasty, and people are hoping. Although he could. What about Ozzie Albies? You never were a huge fan of Ozzie Albies. Talking about,
decent player, but fantasy wise, just look at his stats and tell me where does he, except for batting average, where does he help you? Where does he help you?
Well, I mean, it depends on which Ozzie Albies shows up.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, he's there's no power. His stolen bases are getting lower every year, I think. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
The stolen bases are decreasing. No power. I mean, in 2023, he had 33 homers. So he had no power last year. And the question is why? And is this real? I don't know.
I think he's off the juice. How about Profar being suspended for 80 games this week?
Well, I had him as a bust, and now it's official.
Yeah, now you waive him.
Yeah.
And now I see why San Diego got rid of him, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But 80 games, oh my, he must have been caught before, I imagine.
It's hard for me to believe that they get themselves into that kind of position. I understand there's a lot of pressure on these guys, but you're risking a lot to get into that situation. Now, okay, William Contreras, number one catcher in baseball in all of our minds. Casey had him in a tier of one. I think I may have also. I can't even remember what I said. Are you worried about him at all? He's 2 for 20.
No, not worried about him. Who I do like is Herrera for the Cardinals. 3 home runs yesterday. Seriously?
Wow.
Herrera is somebody that's like a sneaky guy that you may want to pick up. But no, William, I'm not worried. I mean, even though Milwaukee's looked awful this year, the Yankees scored 1 million runs against them. Every game they scored a lot. But Contreras, I'm not worried about at all.
I mean, I would say a lot of these numbers in this first week of the season, I'm not worried about most of these guys. I look at Marcus Semien, 3 for 26. He looks terrible in his numbers. I'm not worried about him at all.
Me either. I love Marcus Semien in Texas. You got to remember, it's all about weather too. When the ball is when it gets hotter, the ball flies out a lot easier.
I mean, the only guys that I could say that I'm worried about on the list of like
tell me
top preseason players. It's not even that I'm worried about it. Michael Harris, I'd never.
But he's not a top guy. He's not a guy that I'm like, oh my, I better hope this guy develops. I mean,
so you want me to go to like the true top guys?
Yeah, I mean, Michael Harris Jr. I can waive that guy. I won't feel guilty about it the next day.
Okay, but I mean, he's ranked like 40th in Yahoo overall.
Yeah,
So I'm scrolling down the list to see. I do have some worry about Corbin Carroll. I gotta say. I mean, I know you're high on him. I understand why you're high on him, and I actually think he's going to be fine. But I do have some worry about him.
You know who's playing well, and no one's talking about him, is in Baltimore. Jordan Westberg. He is.
Well, Casey and I loved him.
He's hitting over 400, and he's getting hits when they need him. And it could be his year this year. He could be like maybe like an MVP type season for him. I mean, because he's surrounded by great players, and he'll get a lot of great opportunities. But he's hitting the ball great.
He's the kind of player that I could see certainly ending up being a second-round pick next year. He could end up being a first-round pick if he has a really, really big year.
He's just teasing, and Gunner's not even there. I mean, Gunner's not there to protect him yet. But Baltimore, if they can get their pitching figured out, they're going to be a good team. I don't want to face them in the playoffs.
Now, I'm not worried about Julio Rodriguez like in any kind of official way, but he's certainly the bloom's off the rose. He does not seem the same kind of player that he was in terms of the excitement about it.
Well, we'll see what it's again. Like your theme of the show is it's only the first week, so
I'm certainly not worried about him to the degree that I would trade him for cheap.
Yeah, I'm not concerned, but I'm keeping an eye on, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Now, I mean, when I get to the second page, I know you said Michael Harris is not a big deal, but he's just overrated. He's so overrated that they rated him 41st. And Michael Harris should be ranked 130th. That's my feeling. He's just not ranked.
Acuna, he's not even doing baseball activities yet. I thought he was like going to start opening day. That's what I heard.
I know.
And now he's like, oh, well, he hasn't really took any outfield and he hasn't practiced like the cuts you got to do when you catch the ball. He hasn't done any of that stuff.
It's getting a little scary with Acuna,
because when's this guy coming back?
Right. These things can really linger. Yeah. Here's another guy that I would be at least somewhat concerned about. I'm not saying he's like the biggest name, but Marcell Ozuna was great last year.
Great.
And we've seen him have very bad years.
He starts out. Last year, he started at, I don't know if you remember this, he started out slow. And then in May and June, he just caught fire. In July, he was like home run every day.
When Marcell Ozuna is on fire, he's one of the best players in baseball.
Again, owners, don't freak out. If you want to bench him, I won't say don't do it. I won't say do it, but I understand. If you have somebody else better on your bench that's having better stats right now, that's what I did in our league. I benched him, and I'm playing got who I put in there, but it doesn't matter. But basically, it's not a bad move to do right now. I feel that April's not his month.
Here's another guy that I have some worries about. I was the least high on him coming into the season of me, you, and Casey. Anthony Santander. I'm not sure what to make of him just yet. I mean, he had a great year last year, though his batting average was,
Yeah, he's going to have 100 RBIs and 30 home runs, give or take. But this guy's going to be a really good player in Toronto.
I think he'll be good, but I think he also could end up underperforming quite a bit this season compared to what people are expecting.
Yeah,
I was never that high on him.
I would still start him every game. Just remember, he will have a good year, and he plays in Toronto where it's really cold.
Okay, we're gonna move to pitchers for a little bit, and then we're gonna talk closers for a little bit before we wrap up.
There you go.
Tariq Skubal, are you worried about him?
No, Cy Young candidate, great stuff. He's only had 2 starts. I'm not worried about him at all. No.
I'm not worried about him much, but pitchers, when you see them doing this, it's like, is there something wrong with them? What's happening?
He's his filthy, nasty stuff.
I wouldn't be too worried about him. How about Corbin Burns? He's
Corbin Burnson from LA Law. No.
Yep. Roger Dorn.
And also Major League. I always liked Corbin Burns. I always thought he was, now Gallon and Milk is pitching great too. Zach Allen looks great.
Love Zach Allen.
I love Zach Allen too. Corbin Burns, no. I think Corbin Burns is a really good pitcher, and I feel that he'll be fine. I'm not worried about him at all. No.
Now, what do you think about? I'm just curious about Michael King. Like,
I thought last year he was just playing over his head. I never thought he was that great. I mean, I think he's a good average pitcher, like not the certain level that putting him on. But I'm not like one of these guys that I need to get him. He's not on the same level as he's not a top tier or top 1 or 2 tier guy.
Yep.
But again, I think he's coming back to reality now.
All right, I'm gonna ask one more, and then we'll move on to closers. But what do you think of? Sorry, I lost track of who I was placing here. Cole Ragans. How does he look so far?
I love Ronald Reagans.
Ronald Reagan's.
I love Ronald Reagan's. I think he is like legitimately like could be a Cy Young type candidate someday.
I think this is your last chance to buy low on him at all. Right
yeah,
now.
I mean, I love this guy. I mean, I've been talking about him the past few years. Yeah, I mean, he's top 5 pitcher in the American League.
He looks absolutely great. All right, well, let's move to relief pitchers for a little bit. We know relief pitchers can be a huge headache.
Oh God, it's so like.
So who's been your disaster closer of the year so far?
Well, he sent him down in the minors in Pittsburgh is Vindar. I mean, Vindar's they already sent him down. He's been getting destroyed. I mean,
yep.
Granted, Pittsburgh's only won 2 games, but I mean, it's just like the guy is like putting gas on a fire.
Somehow he got a save.
Oh, he did well.
Well, he got a save, but it was in 1 inning with an ERA of 27.
Yeah, they moved. They got. He's in the minor leagues. He's not. He had 1 good year, and I think he was an All-Star twice, and he had 1 really, really good year, and he ever since then he's
in 2023 he was quite good. But yeah. I mean, he was terrible all year last year, and you could tell he wasn't the same player. And to me, the strikeouts are a big reason. You'll laugh at that because I always talk about that, but they're a big reason you can tell whether a player is regressing in some way is if that rate is changing. Let me ask you about Camilo Doval. He has gotten 2 saves. Now, I know it's because what's his name ahead of him was injured.
Walker.
But I think it was Casey who was worried that he was going to take Walker's job at some point. Do you think that could happen?
I think they'll switch off back and forth, kind of what they do in LA with their bullpen because they're so stacked with all these guys. It's ridiculous. LA's bullpen's ridiculous, but I think both of them will have like 20, 25 saves. You won't see one guy and they'll wait for one guy to like really fail, and the other guy will become the closer. So right now it's by committee, 2 guys, but we'll see what happens. If Walker can do well, maybe it's his job, but I think both of them are, Doval's pitching fine. I
just think early in the season, you got to keep your eyes on certain teams and how it's playing out because you only have certain opportunities to jump on something. So let's talk about the Pittsburgh situation. Who do you pick up with Bednar in the minors?
Oh, I wouldn't pick up anybody.
Wouldn't pick up anybody. Well, let's say you're in a deep league. You really need saves.
I'm trying to think it's probably by committee, and the public and give every guy in the bullpen a chance to start and figure out who's going to get the save.
I mean, at least this guy Ryan Barucki has been.
Barucki's good, but good. Again,
Dennis Santana,
one bad appearance, and he's back on the bottom again.
So. If I had to take a chance on any one pitcher in that organization, though, right now, other than Skeens, of course, I mean, I'm talking relief pitchers, is Dennis Santana. He's been in those roles before.
I know.
I don't love him, but if you need somebody,
it's just I don't recommend anybody except Paul Skeens, and Jones has been hurt. Their other starter who I like, but other than that, it's slim pickings in Pittsburgh for pitching. It's not good.
All right, Ross, we're going to wrap up on this, but I want you to tell me about what closer do you think is next to lose their job, because it happens all the time.
Well, Alexis Diaz has been hurt for the Reds. When he comes back, he'll lose his job. He's horrible. I want Ashcraft to get that job for the Reds. He's somebody that used to start for the Reds. Great stuff, but he gets tired. Like in the 3rd or 4th inning, he starts getting tired and he loses games. So it's making him a closer. Who cares? Tanner Scott in L.A., if I had to pick a closer in L.A. to get that job, it's Tanner Scott. He has the best stuff. But then they have Yates and they have
but Scott has the job right now as far as I know.
No, Blake Trinan is there. He's been getting some save opportunities. Blake is good. I like Blake Trinan too, but
some of it is that they've won 8 in a row. So you're going to have other pitch. You're going to have other pitchers.
They say it's Tanner Scott's job, but we'll see. I mean, right now, I think it's committee still. But
I'll tell you one guy that you could have gotten for really cheap that's looking like it's going to pay off huge is Aroldis Chapman. We talked about it before, but he hadn't officially been put in that role. And now he's officially in the role. I think he's going to have a really good year.
I've always liked Chapman. The problem with him is just control. He's a head case. He's one of these hot-headed Cuban guys that, that
must learn control.
Well, I mean, he's somebody in all seriousness that can use your help. I mean, his mindset is all over the place, and his lifestyle is crazy. I mean, you should hear some of the stuff that came out of Cincinnati when he was there. It was crazy. But he definitely still has that arm. I mean, he won the World Series with the Cubs. He can throw over 100 miles an hour still. He hasn't lost anything. And I told you the story when I went to spring training one year. I went to the Reds camp, and I was in the parking lot where the players park, and I saw a Corvette with the license plate fastball. And my buddy who works for the Reds, I said, "Whose car is that?" He said, "One guess, Chapman." He said, "Yes." So he had the car shipped from Miami. He had the Florida plates fastball, and that was his first car he ever bought, I guess. Because I talked to him and I asked him about it. I thought that was a perfect license plate for him.
It is, and he's always had the flash. Okay, so Ross, we're going to wrap up for today. Thanks for joining me today. We hope you guys are off to a great start to your season. We will keep bringing our shows Tuesdays. That's the Waiver Wire with Ross and Casey. That's 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Same time for our strategy show, but that's on Thursdays, and that'll be me, Ross, and Casey. We'll take you through the year, and we look forward to another great year. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Ross, thank you for working with me. I just realized, Ross, I'm having a problem with my computer. Can you end the stream? I can't do it.
I can't do anything.
You can't do it. All right. Well, we need to find some way to wrap up. I don't know how to do it. Let me see how we do this. This is a hilarious ending. My mouse just ran out of juice, and it will not respond. Give me a second. I'm going to go unplug this. I think you can, though. Go to the end of the stream.
I'm looking. I can leave studio. I'm trying to. I don't have a way to do anything. I don't have the control to do it.
This is hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna have to plug in a different mouse and end it. So if you guys are still watching, this is a hilarious.
Well, I'm gonna leave studio then.
Yeah, you just leave the studio, Ross. It's okay. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. I'm gonna get this unplugged.
You can't shut it off, huh?
I can't until I can get control of the screen. This has never happened before, but we'll work it out. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next week. Let's see if that worked. This is hilarious. It's not working. I cannot get off the screen. Okay. Well, I'm going to sign off. Thanks, guys.